Just got a bike box delivered, and it's heavy, really heavy. Just got bike box delivered. It's the Pivot Shuttle with the Avinox motor. These are really hard to get. Anything with the Avinox motor, super difficult to get. They go to stock fast. This last week, but the supplier didn't give enough bikes to Pivot or something, so they had to find their non-inventory bikes that are backups to give me. And I think they also gave me an EXO access derailleur to make up the difference on the week delay. But I'm pretty stoked to open this bike and see what's going on. Got a little nervous about this huge cut in the box, but it's by the wheel, so hopefully that should be okay. But yeah, I guess we'll just kind of get into unboxing it. Dealer said it was 70% built, so I don't know what that means, if it's just tires and handlebars or if it's everything, but we'll see. It's my first time kind of getting a full unbuilt or a bike in a box. But yeah, I also got my bike from Bike Salton in Florida. I'll add a link for where you can get them. Worked with him a lot, Joe. He's awesome. Really nice to work with, nice guy. So yeah, let's get this open. Alright, so now that the bike is mostly unwrapped, I can just kind of go through what it is. So, Shuttle with a Avinox, should be size medium. Okay, cool, it says right there. Float X Performance, 38 Performance. This is kind of weird that they're stem spacers, plastic, because usually you're used to seeing I don't know, a alloy or metal. But yeah, I mean, that looks pretty sick. And then crank arms, it's pretty nice that they keep a bash guard, because e-bikes usually don't come with one, so that's nice. The brakes look a lot like the silver first gen A1s. The decals are slightly different, and then if you look right here, on one of these bikes, there's more of a actual, it's more closed in and stuff. So I don't think it's, hopefully there's not much of a performance difference, but so far, I mean, all that you can really see is the suspension, the brakes, the dropper post, crank. Alright, so we pulled some parts out. You got the stem, handlebar, grips, controllers. These are wireless, which is pretty sweet. The axis is just I don't know, the GX one. It's not the Ultimate with the raised grippies. Yeah, so it just doesn't have that silver in the middle, really, how you can kind of tell the difference. You could probably switch these out to get the ones you want. Obviously I got my axles. These are separate. Manual. Came with these centerline rotors. These are probably I don't even know if these are 2 inches thick or not. So I think these are like a touch thinner. So I'm gonna end up putting some HS2 ones on my bike, which I have down here. I kind of got some stuff I want to put on the bike. Got HS2 rotors, grips that I like, the seat that I like, crank boot protectors. I guess I have brake pads. I didn't know that. And then I'm also gonna put a Zeb fork on it, and then eventually get a coil on it and stuff because I like RockShox a bit more. I got the rod build, so I got this because they like didn't have it. They were like a week late, so this was just like a discount to keep me happy or whatever. Chain. Oh, that's kind of nice. It's been cut to proper length. Definitely wanted to grease that first. This is the front brake. These are like the brake mounts. This is the sensor. And then you got the charger. And then I don't know what this is. What is this? Just another thing. These are for brakes again. And then assuming they didn't put any sealant in there. So yeah, I think got the bike pretty much finished. We got the rotors put on, which are the HS2, not the stock ones that it came with. Threw on my pedals, threw on my grips that I like, which are the ODI Reflex. I put on my seat, which is like the, whatever, Fisker Alpaca gravity saddle, which is sometimes on downhill bikes, but I really like this just because it's small, it gets out of the way. Obviously, they gave me the seat post that it came with, which I think is like a 1-up. I just went with the normal 1-up that I had laying around, which is like the 1-up V3 180. I have that on my other bike too, and I really like it. So I really only have just kind of changed the contact points, which are like the grips, pedals, seat. I am probably gonna end up doing the ultimate pod on here and getting the 1-up dropper lever, just because another contact things I like. I would say the one, and this is more of a SRAM thing, is one thing that kind of seemed bad was like the, not bad, but like there's a lot of play and wiggle in these Maven. Guessing these are base brakes, I'm not really sure. I have Mavens on all my other bike, they feel great. They probably perform fine, but just like first kind of feel like they do have that play, but like I don't think it's gonna, when you pull them back, you're not feeling that. It's just kind of, you notice that wiggle up and down, but that's fine. It'll be kind of cool, even though it's base performance suspension, trying some of this Fox stuff, because it's been forever since I've been on Fox. I am still going to put a Zeb on it and then do a Vivid coil. The other thing that I'm kind of excited to try are these Continental tires. With the PSI I normally run, when I push these in, they feel very soft and squishy, like there's not enough PSI in them. I am used to like Michelin's, like Enduro MS or the DH22, so these are very soft, and they also felt very thin to me, so I'm curious to try these again. I have used Continental once, and I was on like the Argitol instead of the Cryptotol, but I think these are like front and rear specific, so it'll be cool to try a proper setup, because I think the Argitols or something were too aggressive for the terrain we were on, like, or the downhill bike, just like where it's hard packed, I think, and not so loose. I think it might have been a little bit overkill, so I think the Cryptotol tread pattern might be better, but I am curious to just try something. One thing that's kind of cool I noticed is how soft and quiet these tires are, which is kind of cool. I don't have the chain on here yet, but this bike is super quiet too when you drop it. Front might have a little rattle because I don't have the, I have to still do the dropper, but it's like pretty quiet. That flopping is just this thing, but like these are really quiet. And then for the drop test, this is like insanely quiet, like motor wise. Like I had the Pivot Shuttle LT, the Shimano one, which is like there was Gen 1 or 2, that green one, and that one, like when you dropped it, it did have a little bit of like rattle, and I think that rattle you're hearing is maybe the rotor just kind of hitting it. But like for a drop test, this thing is like dead silent, which is kind of crazy. I also have ridden the Pivot Shuttle SLAM. That still had like a little bit of a rattle. It wasn't bad, but just noise-wise. But kind of partially the reason I sold the LT and didn't buy the Slam, even though I really like the Slam, was just because you get almost double the battery life for maybe, I think like $1,000 more if you compare both ride builds, because the Slam at 400 watts was like, just say 8 grand, it might be like 85, and this is like just 9 or whatever. This is also double the battery, and for me personally, like I would probably end up putting like a 38 mil stanchion fork on here anyways. So where this is 50 pounds, 10 pounds heavier than the Slam, I feel like once you start to put on proper tires, which are going to be enduro casing, proper fork, you're going to be ending up getting closer to those 50 pounds, which might decrease your range. So I felt like this made more sense doing it, going with more battery and almost the same weight. And I also did like play around on Fanatics website to do like building an e-bike. I think it was like the Santa Cruz Vala, where I built it one with like a 36 trail tires, kind of like how the Slam would be spec'd versus how this is spec'd with enduro casing, a 38. I even put like a bigger rear shock on it. And like it was still a 40 pound versus a 50 pound difference. So to me, where I was planning on putting a 38 and maybe a coil on it, I would end up making the Slam 50 pounds, which this is already pretty much close to being there. So I felt like this bike just kind of made more sense. Also, when I lift it, compared to like my Shuttle LT, which is like a heavy bike, this feels a lot better weighted, where I feel like a lot more of the weight is in the bottom bracket and not so much in the, whatever, this isn't the top tube, the down tube, I don't know. The lower, this tube, where the battery is, I feel like I'm not noticing as much weight there. It feels like much better. Like it doesn't feel so front heavy like it wants to tip down. Like this just feels, where you hold it in the bottom bracket area, it just feels much more centered. So I am pretty stoked on this. And yeah, I mean, I'm gonna end up throwing some RockShox components on here. I will probably end up getting some hubs that actually are 6-bolt, because these are center lock. They're not bad, it's just you can kind of, when you hold down your front brake and you're checking for like headset play, you might hear a little bit of a creak or kind of a movement, which you might think goes from your headset, but it's the 6-bolt. All the other bikes are 6-bolt, so it's just easier if I need a quick wheel replacement to grab one of my other bikes and always have the same stuff. The cassette I also know is very heavy, because it's the cassette that I think belongs not to the Axis stuff, but it's that new cable axis, or the new cable T-type stuff. So it is a little bit heavier. Obviously, yeah, I know this is an e-bike, but I think it might be cool to have more black on here. Just kind of ties in everything better. So go with the XO, which is pure black, to match this XO. But yeah, the rest of this is sick. I mean, if you got this as like a full base bike, it's a good entry to kind of get into Maven's, Axis, if you're kind of new to it. One of my friends, this is going to be his first, he got the same exact bike but in the berry color, so this will be his very first e-bike. First time being on Maven's, first time being on this long of a travel fork, and a 38 and MX. So I'm obviously really pumped to try it, just because this Geo is totally different than what I'm used to. Like, yeah, it's still a pivot, but it's MX, longer chainstay, obviously because of an e-bike, high stack I think, which I know I can probably drop the front end a little bit, but I'm just really curious to try this, because like the head tube angle is also like 63.5, which I'm used to like 64.5 or something on the Firebird. But yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of cool parts on here that I'm gonna try out for the first time, or it's been a while. But yeah, I think I'm really stoked on this build. I think the ride is honestly one of the, for price wise, I think it's a really good build, because it gets you a good brand, good suspension, like DW Link stuff. Obviously you get the Avinox motor, but also just the parts that they put on it stock are really good too. I don't have like, they put good tires on here, which I feel like a lot of trail enduro bikes you see listed at 34 pounds, it was because they put like XC tires on here. So I'm happy they actually spec these with real tires. Yeah, it is an e-bike and it's going to be heavier, but it is nice that you're not going to instantly have to start upgrading stuff right away. But yeah, all I need to do is throw on a chain. It's pouring rain out this week, which kind of stinks, but yeah, put on the chain, do the dropper, probably bleed these brakes maybe, I don't know, I haven't even tried them. They don't feel terrible, but I feel like new ones will need it. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked on this. So yeah, these Maven bases look a lot like the silvers. These are the grips I like, the Renthal Reflex. Good padding here, and then they kind of give you a good grip, and they also force your elbows out a bit more, I feel like. This is the kind of like the base one. I'll probably do the ultimate just because it has better clickers. Probably get that one up, one over here. But yeah, this is the fork. Compression. It's got, I don't know how many rebound clicks, but plenty for me. Obviously, this is the frame. Floatex, plenty of rebound. I think this only has like one click of compression, like open and closed. I think that's about it. I don't think there's actually any compression, but we'll see how that works. These are the pedals I love. The Deity Supervillains, I think. I also think they look pretty cool with the bike. This is the cassette I was talking about. It's a little bit heavier, but it is cool with the two-tone. This is the Exo Shifter Pivot gave me just because they kind of ran out of the build and they had to find me one quickly. Kind of cool that the tires come with a yellow decal instead of like the plain white ones that are like usually found on your stock OEM bike. That's the seat I like. Yeah, Maven brakes in the back. And then you got your center lock hubs, which I'm not crazy about just because I feel like I always have issues, but it's probably user error. Yeah, this is the bike. Pretty sick.